Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day, an amazing week so far. The day that I'll be uploading this is going to be March 1st, the first of the month. So wishing nothing but great vibes, positivity, great energy, blessings for the upcoming month. And so I kind of just wanted to make this video basically just centering and focusing more on like mental health, spirituality, everything of that sort. And so I don't know, I feel like God just really put this video idea into my heart, and I kind of just had some things that I wanted to like not only get off my chest, but kind of make this as conversational-ish as much as possible. And so if you guys have any ideas or any thoughts about some of the topics that I'll be talking about, make sure you guys go ahead and type it up in the comment section below, as well as subscribe, like, and turn that post notification bell on so that you're notified every single time I post a new video. Capiche caposh. While I'll be talking about this, I'll also be doing my makeup. I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but I am one of those gals who will literally just beat their face at 10:40 p.m. just because I feel like it. And so if you know, you know, but if you don't know, it's okay. It's okay. I still love you. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So I had written down the things that I wanted to say in this video in my notes to ensure that I don't miss anything, and then I make sure I get my point across in this video as best as possible. And so the first thing that I'm kind of going to talk about is just the new awareness that I have on mental health. Not so much of the fact of not thinking that it was important or like not thinking that it was like serious, because it most definitely is. But I kind of just want to touch on the difference between my knowledge of what I feel like mental health for me is now versus 2-3 years ago, because it was quite non-existent 2-3 years ago. I guess you could say 2-3 years ago, 18-19, I feel like first and foremost for me growing up in a Nigerian household, I'm sure like if you're Nigerian or African, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. But for me, growing up in a Nigerian household, it was never talked about. It was never discussed. We were never educated on it. The only time that I actually ever heard it were sometimes like during school, but like it was never something that was in depth. Like it just wasn't a thing for me to really like understand. And so it wasn't really until I got into college until I realized, you know, what mental health is and how it can affect somebody. And I guess you could say maybe a year ago, that was when I was affected by it. And so now I feel like I have like the strength to be able to like come here and say, okay, like I never want to go through what it is that I went through again. Let me touch on it, kind of get a sense of where it came from, not only from, you know, college, but from childhood, growing up, background, everything of that sort. So call it 3 years ago when I started college, I was commuting to and from the house and going to community college. So I was in community college at that time. And at that time I was really kind of struggling to like make friends, and I guess you can kind of say find my way as far as trying to build a community, if that makes sense. And for those of you who have went to community college or who currently go to community college, you can kind of understand how that's not like the easiest way to make friends, or like that's not, you know, the easiest nor the best environment to build a community, if that makes sense. Because the mentality in community college is very much in and out, and you're not trying to like, you don't care about building relationships, you don't care about building friendships. Like you're just trying to go to class, get your grade, and go. Like that's literally all it is. Don't get me wrong, community colleges, they have their benefits. You save a lot of money, and that's exactly what I did, not only for the sake of me, but like obviously for my parents. It was just easier at the time, so I was just commuting to and from the house and going to community college in that way. And I guess you could say in that kind of sense, I felt almost like, not useless, but I kind of felt like I was almost just in like this robotic cycle, I guess you could say. And when you graduate high school, you kind of feel like, oh my gosh, your life is gonna change. And it's like when you go into school or when you get out of it, you anticipate your life changing, especially for the better, which it does, but like you kind of don't feel it necessarily. Because I felt like the things that I was doing in community college, I might as well get stayed in high school, because that's what it felt like. It really just felt like high school. And I was ready for like a bigger change. And so that kind of just wasn't what I was expecting. And so I guess you can kind of say like I just wasn't like into it, if that makes sense. And I feel like that is where I started to question and like truly ask myself like, okay, what is it that I truly want? Where do I, you know, see myself? What do I see myself doing? How do I build a community? How do I build friends? How do I be more social? Like that was kind of like the year where I was really just trying to figure it out, because I was like, this cannot continue. Like there's no way this kind of behavior can continue for me, because I'm just not that type of person. So going into my second year of college, that was a whole different story. Oh my goodness. Like, hey, wow. My second year of college, boy, oh boy, that was almost like the complete opposite. Like me wanting a different kind of outcome for my second year of college than what I had for my first year of college. That is exactly what happened my second year. And although I had asked for it, I wasn't prepared. Like I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Man, I met so many people unexpectedly too. Like I met so many people unexpectedly. I was working 3 jobs. The academics in school was not so great. I was struggling. I was living on campus by myself, getting in and out of stuff. That second year, like, whew, that's one thing I really realized, that if I can survive that second year, cool. So regarding my second year, as far as my mental health goes, in the beginning, I was very much so like, oh, I'm so excited, you know. It was really good. Like I was on really good energy, on a high. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you know, being able to meet new people. I was really in a great headspace at the time. And then throughout the year, that shit was just, I crashed literally. Like it didn't end so well. Say that. I was almost like, what the heck? Like what is going on? Like I didn't feel like this was how, you know, college for me was gonna be. I felt even more lonely the end of my second year than I did my first year, which I didn't even think was a possibility. And so the fact that like I was really down and just in a really bad headspace, like a really, really bad headspace, it was just not a place where I ever want to be ever again. And so because I wasn't in a great headspace at the time and other things kind of came into play, I actually ended up moving back home. And I kid you not, I still remember the day that I turned in my keys to my apartment, and I had finished moving all my stuff from the apartment into my house. And I remember like seeing all my stuff, like all my new stuff that I had like my bed, my chairs, like everything that I had into my room. And I just sat on the bed and I cried. Like I remember crying because I was just like, I felt like I literally didn't do anything. Like I felt like I was still at the same place that I was. Not even just at the same place that I was. I felt like I was worse. I felt like I had almost like wasted a whole year, because like I had mentioned, like my academics was bad. I, you know, got distracted by a lot of things. My priorities were kind of just all over the place, and I just wasn't like where I felt like I needed to be. And so therefore, like for me, I'm the type of person where like I know what I should be doing. I know the things that I need to be doing. And if I'm not doing it, it upsets me, it overwhelms me, it stresses me out. And so that was kind of what it was. And so like I mentioned, when I got home, I literally like cried in my room on my bed for like 15 minutes. You know, I just wasn't me, low-key, if I'm being quite honest. I just was not me. And I don't want to say like I was faking anything, but I just wasn't myself for sure. The beginning of this, you know, school year, this was like my redemption year. I said I refuse to go through what I went through the last 2 years. Like there's no way. Absolutely no way. Like it was almost like a click. I was like, there's no way that this is happening. Like I refuse. Me just telling myself, you know, it's gonna be better. I'm gonna make it better by fire, by force. It's gonna happen. It really just set everything off to be a whole lot better for me. And that was kind of like the beginning work of my mental health that I was going through. And from August till now, this is the best time that I've ever been in. Like, ever. No other time can compete, can compare in any way the best time. And I feel like the biggest things that had changed between August until now was that I became more confident in myself, most definitely. I decided to work more so on walking in faith rather than fear, and growing closer to God. Like, that was just like number one. Like, just me doing my Bible studies, me doing my morning prayers, finding myself in the things that I used to do, which is so funny. Like, I remember being a little kid and being in dance groups, and like, for those of you who know will already know this, but like, I do sing, I do love writing, I love making music, I love that aspect. And I guess you can say like the last 2 years, like my first year, my second year of college, I kind of like didn't put that as seriously as I wish I had, because maybe I feel like things would have turned out a little bit differently. But I guess grew closer into the things that make me who I am, and just the things that I love. And so I most definitely am so happy about those moments, because I think those are the moments that I realize like more of who I am, building that confidence and not wavering from it at all. And so basically now is just a different time. I have connected with people, once again, unexpected ways, but that's how God works. I've put myself out there a lot more. I know myself more. I know myself, you know, better than what I knew 2 years ago, setting boundaries, which kind of gets into my next topic of truly setting boundaries for yourself and standing on business. And when I say that, I don't mean like the funny term of like, obviously the fact that it's a trend now of like, oh, I'm standing on business, standing on business, standing on business. Like, you obviously don't have to go around saying, oh, you're standing on business. Like, people will know that you're standing on business. And the way I've been able to realize that I'm standing on business, not just like my peace that I have within myself, but like I've actually been told from people close to me who would be like, oh, like the Ahunda before, she would have never stood 10 toes down on what she's believing in right now. Or like, I would have never, you know, cared about what other people think. But me now, that's a different story. That's a different story. We all have those moments and those experiences where it's like, never again, never again. I have a good like 5 from the past year, and those situations will never have access to me nor be repeated ever again. And I feel like doing that is the first step of knowing yourself and the first step of protecting your mental health, because not giving access to things that no longer serve you, setting boundaries for yourself. And I've been told myself like, oh my gosh, since when do you do this? Since when do you do that? So what? All of a sudden I'm the biggest bitch ever because I stand up for myself and I don't take bullshit. Next kind of topic that I also want to get into is kind of like the whole suck it up and thug it out mentality. That mentality honestly came from growing up and just how we grow up, like being told not to cry, being told just deal with it and get it over with. Now that I think about it as an adult, that mentality really sucks. Like, even if you want to talk about it, you're not going to be heard the way you really want to be heard. And so that mentality, I just will have to say that if I were to tell my younger self, I would most definitely tell myself like, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to have it all figured out. It's okay to not want to suck it up. It's okay to talk about it. Like, those things are okay. I didn't feel like it was okay for me to, you know, verbalize how I felt at times. You just have to really know when to apply it and when not to apply it. You can't be like 100% all in on just that 24/7, because as a human being, you're literally just gonna crash out the same way I ended up doing. So knowing when to apply it, when not to apply it, and just like I said, knowing yourself and how long you're able to suck things up and thug it out, and knowing when enough is enough. So knowing those things are very, very important. And so the next topic that I also kind of want to get into is submitting and surrendering to God. The beginning of that journey really started when I had moved back into my parents' house. That was really when I was down bad, down really bad, the lowest of the low, the lowest I have ever been. And I was just in a phase where I was just lost, confused, didn't know where to go. And I had realized in that moment that I didn't actually create nor have a strong relationship with God. And there's a difference, like, between going to church and, you know, being spiritual, being religious, to actually having a relationship with Christ. And I didn't have that at that time. It wasn't as strong as it needed to be. And so with me being in that predicament, I most definitely understood, you know, turning to God, not only any situation, but especially in those situations like that. And I remember participating and really like diving into Bible studies, you know, participating more in the church because of just like how I felt was really good for me. Turning to God was literally my savior. Like, it was literally what saved me out of that dark place and gave me the rejuvenation to be like, no, I can get up. I can, you know, do what I have to do. I still, you know, have purpose. I still have goals and everything that I just felt like I wasn't accomplishing, felt like I wasn't achieving, fulfilling. Literally turning to God just helped all of that. And I have such a strong relationship with him, and I'm just so glad because I know it's gonna just be even better. And so yeah, just submitting to God anytime that you feel confused, lost, don't know what to do, you're seeking answers. I promise you, prayers will be answered. Just pray to God. He will answer your prayers in the midst of everything. I'm not gonna contour really because it's 11 o'clock at night. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting that I haven't done my eyebrows. Hey, I've been deep in the conversation. It's okay. This conversation, these topics, it's great. It's been good. So that's why I forgot. But let me do it really quickly. Okay, I did my eyebrows. This one's decent. This one, I don't know what it's doing, but I stopped trying. I also did majority of the rest of my makeup, and so the last thing I have to do is just do my lips. And the last and final topic that I will also be talking about is kind of just sharing and pushing the envelope of talking about mental health, especially within the African Nigerian community, because like I said before, it just wasn't a thing to talk about, so to speak, at least with like me growing up. And so I'm sure a lot of people can like relate to not feeling like they can talk to anybody, feeling like they're alone. And so as much as us being African, us being Nigerian, and us having the sense of pride that we have, that still does not deviate from the fact that we are all human beings and we all go through things that, you know, are very unexpected at times, and you just want to be able to have some type of outlet. And so I know for me and in my family, I feel like as siblings as a whole, now that we're all adults, it's kind of like easier and better for us all to talk about it now than probably 10-15 years ago. And to add to that, I also think like our parents have kind of opened up to, you know, that idea into that fact as well. Because I'm not gonna lie, like my parents, they're very traditional, like but I also do think obviously living here in America, you have to find, you know, some balance. You have to have some type of leeway and have a broader, you know, perspective on some things, because things aren't black and white in today's society as you can kind of compare it to maybe 30 years ago, and things are especially not black and white living in America versus maybe living in other countries. So with that being said, just trying to push the envelope and trying to encourage people talking about mental health more often, and especially in environments where it's possibly not as talked about as it should be. And let me go ahead and finish my lip because I totally forgot that within the conversation. I have yet to find a color that like beats this color on my face. And so I just go ahead with my lip gloss. Where is it? Hey, where's my lip gloss? I literally don't know where my lip gloss is. This is weird. Oh my gosh. It was literally sitting like this behind the camera, so that's why I couldn't see it. Okay, I'm gonna take this out my hair. Clearly. Alrighty. Alright guys, this is the final look. Nothing too crazy, if I'm being honest. I would wear this on a normal, regular occasion. And without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it brought more attention or any attention to mental health, especially in areas where it's not brought up as much as it should be, or for people who feel like they're alone or feel confused and don't know who to turn to. I hope that this video kind of gave some type of insight into it, and hopefully it gave you the encouragement to open up about these topics, because it is very important. If you do have any other ideas, questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever the case may be, drop it down in the comment section below like you know how to do already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.